ॐ सहनावतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरि ओम। पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वाम् अनुसन्दधामि। भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनम् देवकी परमानन्दम् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। My namaskar to you all who are listening this talk on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. We are in the midst of this 17th chapter, Saptadashodhyaya, 17th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and we had seen until verse number 17 in our last class, which was held on earlier Sunday. Prior to earlier Sunday, last Sunday. And now here discussion is going on, subject to the response of Arjuna, where he had asked to Bhagavan, at the end of 16th chapter, Bhagavan had said that Shastra Vidim Usrujya Vartate Kamakara Nasa Siddhim Avapnoti Nasukham Na Pramati Tasma Shastra Pramanante Karya Karya Vyavastito. So, Jnatva Shastra Vidhanam Karma Kartum. So, meaning that that you should go by the injunction, by the advice, by the discipline, Shastra. So, by Shastra we can take a little liberal meaning, not only the books, not only the canons, not only the laws, but it also includes the word of the wise and establish truth, not something, but your own fancies, your own whims. That cannot be the basis. Vartate kamakara. Just because you think or want to, that my life, my rules, that cannot be the basis of action. That cannot be the basis of action. Vartate kamakara. That cannot be. So therefore you must know what is established ways and definitely pursue by it. So and this is what Bhagavan had said, and therefore in the beginning of this 17th chapter, from which this chapter starts and closes. Arjuna had raised this question that if suppose all the time it may not be possible, like for a normal human being, to know what is being said in a particular context. So he asked this particular question in the matter of yajante, in the matter of worshipping the divine, if not knowing the truth, so then his nishtha would be termed as sattvic, rajasic or tamasic. This was the question. And then from there on, this discourse of these 28 verses begins, which is called as this 17th chapter and titled as Shraddha Traya Vibhaga Yoga. So the classification of Shraddhas of three kinds, Shraddha Traya Vibhaga. And every chapter is termed as yoga. So yoga means path to the truth, path to the illumination, path to the spirituality. That is what the word yoga means. Yoga means union. Union with what? So what is there now and what it has to be united or transform or reach out to what it wants to be, the ideal. The real meets the ideal, and the connecting line, connecting path would be termed as yoga. So it must become yoga where this fulfillment has to be reached, its maturity, its natural evolution, it has to come forth. It must make way for the real organic growth of whatsoever we are talking about. Individual, maybe. So then that path of progression, of the evolution, would be termed as yoga. So if it is yoga, then it would add, as the word yoga means. Yoga means you add, you acquire. It becomes more. You grow. It cannot be belittling. It cannot be coming down. It is not be like degradation. It cannot be degradation. Yoga cannot be degradation. It has to be evolution. It has to be growth. It has to be coming from something inside out, manifesting, finding its way. So yoga is fulfillment. It is liberating. It will set you free. So you become bigger, you become greater, and you calm down a bit. Why does that I use the word calm down a bit? This phrase particularly means that it means that you settle down. Like in chemistry, so there this example is taken of the substitution reaction. Substitution reaction. So one atom replaces another atom in a molecule. So the energy graph of it is like a bell curve. So when this one molecule, which is formed of suppose two atoms, two kinds of atoms, now suppose yes, here there are two atoms, one is chlorine and one is hydrogen. So it is a molecule, the energy graph would be low, there is no thread. So when there is a stability, energy is down. And when there is a stress, when would be the equal highest stress? When another atom is pursuing it. And it has the potential to replace either hydrogen or chlorine. And the stress would be highest when the force would be applied by both. One is trying to pull it, one is trying to hold on to it. So then the energy graph reaches the highest, the peak. Once the atom separates, joins the other, again forms a stable compound, a stable molecule, energy comes down. You grow, changes happen, and you calm down a bit. You calm down a bit. So essential change has acquired. You have gone through that turmoil, and you have internalized it. It has become naturalized now. You have become that. It is no more fancy. You are no more stranger here. You have become that. You are now naturalized. That is your natural state now. Now it is not stress, it is now, it is your strength now. So that is yoga. Yoga has to have these characteristics. If you are too dicey, if you are still dicey, then yoga is not has become your strength. You are not yet internalized. You are not yet acclimatized at that stage. You are not able to digest it. You are not able to cope with it. If you do little serious meditation, it can happen to you. So it can happen to you. So because like in every growth, when we say growth, there are two paths. There is always something destructive. Whatever it might be wrong, but something you have to leave, something you have to give away and take something in new, and that's how you grow. So there is one destructive part, and then there is a constructive part. So change, we all like to imagine change, and very nice. We are very romantic about change, yes. But going through the process of change, it is not romance. It is not, all sweet and honey, everything. So it's a process you go through, you choose that, and you might have to go through that grind. So definitely, then you stand by your decision, you go through the process, and that's how you change. You let go something of yours, you acquire new acquisition, position, they become the part of your being. You forget the past, you become a newer individual. Yoga, this is how it adds. So, this piece of knowledge, so every chapter here is termed as yoga, the path to spiritual illumination. And what ultimately it becomes, ultimately the essence of yoga, ultimately the essence of spiritual life is, comes down to a very basic thing. Remove the ignorance and whether knowledge is established. Discovering. Your knowledge is already there, it is covered, you are discovering. The covers are being removed. Have you removed? Have you accepted the knowledge? Have you become acclimatized to the knowledge? Have you become naturalized to that position of the knowledge? Has it become integral part of your own being? Have you digested it well? So therefore we are not talking here about what you have understood. We definitely are not talking about what did you understand, what did you read, what do you remember, what can you recite something. We are not talking about that. That is not knowledge. Knowledge has to become being. Knowing is being. You know God, you become God. You know Brahman, you become Brahman. You know Atman, you become Atman. You know Spirit, you become Spirit. You cease to become material matter. You are no more. You are no more body. You are no more mind. You are no more your recollection of the past, dreams, memories, attitudes. maybe your weaknesses or strengths, both are separated, and like any other so many items you have in your household, maybe many of them, just like it. So, yoga and Shraddhatraya Vibhaga Yoga here in particular. So, it comes down to yoga, spiritual illumination, that whether this knowledge has gained, whether you are free from this ignorance, which is the root of all bondage. That you are thinking yourself to be something which you are not. You are not something, you are thinking yourself to be a lion cub, is thinking itself as a sheep. Sheep, it was never ever that sheep became a lion. Because lion never ever became a sheep in the first place. So sheep never becomes the lion. It is always lion. That falsely believing lion itself as a sheep comes to realize that its belief was altogether erroneous in the first place. It was never a sheep. This is what is realized. Now this ignorance has dispelled away. So now sheep doesn't become the lion. It ceases to be sheep because it was not in the first. So you do not become something else which you are not. You cannot become. You cannot become Atman unless you are not in the first place. Asato vidyate bhava. This verse number 13 from chapter number 2. This is like so beautiful verse that you should be like, we can always do japa of that. Asato vidyate bhavo na bhavo vidyate sata. Ubhayo rapi dushpanta vanayo tattvadarshi. That what is na asat, asato na asat vidyate bhava. So, which is asat, it cannot come into existence. Vidyate bhava. No, nasato, no asat, vidyate bhava. It cannot come into. No, na bhava means no abhava. Vidyate satah. The which is sat, that which is existence, it can never go extinct. It cannot be. This is what they are talking about, how grand ideas. And Sri Krishna is speaking this in the very opening worry of his, trying to, where from we understand where from Krishna starts seeing the pathetic condition of Arjuna. He starts from Ashokchanan Vashochatvam Prajna Vadasya Bhasate Gata Suna Gata Shushan Shushan Natveva Punjatu Asan Atvam Nemi Janatva Nachayva Bhavishyan Sarve Vayam. Dehinosmin Yatha Dehe Shekha. This is 11, 12, 13. So this may be 15th verse which I said. Natveva. This 16. Asado Vidyate. How is 16? So now ultimately it comes down to all of spirituality is about that. There is only one thing that is purely spirit. That is the spirit itself. And that one thing alone is spiritual, nothing is spiritual. Absolutely. No other thing. Everything is spiritual subject to the condition. Likewise, I go to temple, I do jap, and or I do scripture reading, or I might be doing any other holy thing. It is spiritual as long as it fulfills some condition. It is not absolutely spiritual. Going to temple doesn't by necessarily it is spiritual thing. It has to fulfill a condition, then only it can be called spiritual. Or any other thing for that matter. It has to have that, to be spiritual, it has to have a spirit. Spirit has to be there, then it can become spiritual. That spirit is that conscious. Spirit means conscious. We use the word spirit freely to separate it, to distinguish it from the matter, from the material. To say that it is not matter, we use the word spirit. What is matter? Everything else, which can be observed by senses, which can be experienced by mind, everything is matter. So we are talking this. Okay, the word you are hearing, even Gita, it could be considered as matter because it is experienced by your senses. All these thoughts and ideas, they could be experienced by your mind. So everything material. So yoga, so Shraddha Traya Vibhaga Yoga, we see after 12th chapter onward, then we have this Kshetra Kshatrajna Vibhaga Yoga, 13th chapter, and then we have this 14th chapter, Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. And from this onward, we continuously see discussion between means hovering and coming down on these three qualities, sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic. Three qualities as if one kind of material, and there are three grades. Three grades. Because of how it behaves, sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. And why they are continuously they are talking about that? Because they have propensities, but it will yield into. Though it is supposed tapas, though it is supposed dana, though it is supposed yajna, though it is supposed swadhyaya, anything, but it will not yield the same result. That satvika, which will Maharaj writes the note, the translator, probably this is translator's note at the end of this chapter. So satvika will save you, liberate you, it will free you. Rajasa is characterized by confusion, the struggle. It has potential to evolve into sattva or it can degenerate into tamas also. Tamas is it is very binding. And it is like piling gloom over gloom. And while the study of these three qualities, all the time this discussion is going on, it can be only relevant in and if we see from this lens. If I am observing my mind, analyzing my own mind, if I have achieved this dissociation, this mind I can treat besides myself, and then only this analysis and at what stage it becomes irrelevant. Meaning that what I should choose, how I should employ, engage with my mind, and therefore how to become free. Whether so importantly here on the battleground of Kurukshetra also, here he has to fight ultimately battle, but now discourse is not anymore that whether he should fight the battle or not. Now how to live, how to realize this goal, and including by any other means. So here the means is his own duty of fighting the war. So they are not discussing now virtues or vices of war anymore. So here have now the similarly through this chapter of Shraddha Traya Vibhaga Yoga. So different kinds of Shraddha, how people behave, how people react, and here there were earlier three set of verses where Bhagavan described this Sharira Tapa, which is the austerity by the body, physical austerity. Then there is austerity by the mind, in which I described that etc. So what does it constitute? And then the austerity by the mind. Here I pointed out that Mauna is the austerity of the mind, not of the speech. The silence gets repressed. So, and now Bhagavan says these are three kinds of austerities. If somebody does with highest Shraddha, Shraddhaya Paraya Tattam Tapastat Yudham Naraihi or Phalakankshi Bhiri. This qualification. This is very essential. That she does with all the Shraddha that he must do. That it is good that Sharirik, Manasik and Vachik Tapa, he must do that. Why somebody would like to do austerity? Austerity is always some kind of deprivation. Isn't it? You are not letting yourself to be loose. You are containing yourself. So Deva Dvija Guru Pradnya Pujanam. So देवताओं की, गुरुजनों की, द्विज ब्राह्मण, the ideal man, okay, द्विज गुरु है और उसके अलावा भी प्राज्ञ है. वो गुरु भी नहीं हो सकता है, द्विज भी नहीं हो सकता, ब्राह्मण भी नहीं हो सकता, देवता भी नहीं हो सकता है, पर फिर भी वाइज पर्सन. इन चारों लोगों का पूजन करना चाहिए. अभी किसी का पूजन करने बोले तो हम लोगों को कहीं ना कहीं तो हमारे पर तुम्हारा आलस्य है, तुम और कुछ कर रहे हो. तो if you are supposed to pay respect to someone, something you will have to bear something. It's cost. You will have to stop doing what you are doing. वो रिसीवर लेके आओ, मैं उसका आवाज कम कर देता हूँ. तुमको तो सुनाई नहीं दे रहा है. थोड़ा सा गेट चालू देना पड़ेगा. So this quality is very important. Falakamshi Bhiri. So you have great Shraddha. So this is what I was trying to point out. Why somebody will choose to do any kind of austerity, any kind of burden, physical or any kind of restraint, any kind of this mortification, Deva Dvija Guru Pradnya Pujana, Shaucham, Arjavam, Brahmacharya, Ahimsa. Why somebody would do that? So what would be his Shraddha? Why he would choose to be like you like? There is point in life. So people when spiritually evolve, as like spirit people who are more degraded, they are more drawn towards sensory pleasure and sensory indulgence, creature comforts. So, like people who are evolved or who are evolving, they naturally find pleasure in not doing that. Not doing that. So austerity can become simply a way of living, way of choice of that individual, and he might definitely. And because Shastra, Guru, and everybody is saying that Brahmacharya, Ahimsa, Shaucham, Arjavam, Devadvija, Guru Prajna, Pujanam, etc., etc., these are good things. They are great things. They are ideal things. They must be practiced for various reasons that you would evolve, and they would also help you ultimately in your spiritual practices and realization. Definitely, and it becomes very natural, very tempting for such individual to indulge into it. So that would be Shraddha, Shraddhaya, Paraya. गुरु ने बोला है, शास्त्र ने बोला है, और किसी ने बोला है कि ऐसा करो भाई, तो बहुत अच्छा. So with yes, his heart immediately leaps on it, holds on to it, and he wants to do it. Shraddhaya, Paraya. Tapa, Tat Trividam, this Trividam, Sharira, Vangmayam, and Manasa Tapa. And this is what, even though that he is indulging into it, he is not the person of Phalakamshi. कि मैं ऐसा कर रहा हूँ तो मुझे मेरे घर के लोग अच्छे बोलेंगे, मेरे गुरुजन लोग अच्छे बोलेंगे, बाकी के समाज के लोग मुझे मेरी बड़ी श्रद्धा करेंगे, अरे भाई बहुत ही मतलब ग्रेट आदमी है. ऐसा होने से उसको सात्विक करने बोला जाता है. This cannot be liberating. If it is not sattvic, it cannot be liberating. It cannot create value. It cannot bring in progress. It cannot set you free into the mind. If it is not sattvic. And the person then therefore after doing all these kinds of austerities, he is a phala akshi, phala akamshi, a phala akamshi. So he does not have any akamsha, any desire, any expectation of any kind. Physical, mental, कुछ लोग तो मतलब ऐसा भी सोचते हैं कि ऐसा करूंगा तो मुझे मतलब और कुछ मतलब पावर आती है, आप तब करो तो पावर आती है. You get the power, even that is dangerous. So aphalakankshi, that person, what happens if that person can truly become aphalakankshi? What happens is that person will be able to absorb. This is the greatest. If you doesn't have any expectation, and then you will be able to sip slowly, percolate into yourself, you will be able to absorb. Aphalakankshi, therefore yuktaihi, this word makes sense now. Yuktaihi, that is yoga yuktaihi, is established into yoga. If phalakangsha is there, yuktaihi is not possible. When he is aphalakankshi, then only yuktaihi is possible. Yuktaihi, and therefore now these kinds of austerities would be termed as the highest degree of the most eternal value. The purest, they are sattvic. Then the second grade. See, here itself is and this is how most of us are like satkara mana pujartham tapo dambena chaiva. All these kinds of tapas we do. What is our objective? Artham ये सत्कार, मेरा सत्कार होना चाहिए. मुझे जो दूसरे का बाकी जो तप है, देव द्विज गुरु प्राज्ञ, ये जो बाकी लोगों का जो पूजन कर रहा हूँ, इसके पीछे मेरी भावना है कि मेरा सत्कार हो. ठीक है कि नहीं? कि मैं देवता की पूजा करने जाऊंगा, ठीक है कि नहीं? गुरु जी का सम्मान करूंगा और किसी लोगों का सम्मान करूंगा ताकि लोग मेरा सम्मान करें. सत्कार मान, मुझे मान सम्मान मिलेगा, मुझे मेरी प्रसिद्धि लोग मुझे अच्छा बोले, पूजा अर्थम मेरे लोग पूजा करें. सत्कार मान पूजार्थम तपः दंभेन चैव यत्, कि ये ऑस्टेंटिशियसनेस है, कि उसका ये बॉइस्टरस बॉडीनेस और सब इसका हम लोगों को मतलब उसका शो करके दिखाना है। तपो दंभेन चैव यत्, तो ऐसा कुछ भी ये जो ये मैं शारीरिक तप कर रहा हूँ, मानसिक तप कर रहा हूँ, मैं समझो ऐसा मौन रख के हूँ। मानसिक तप यहाँ पे बोला है, क्या क्या बोला है, मन प्रसाद, सौम्यत्वम, मौनम, आत्म विनिग्रह, भाव संशुद्धि। तो ये सब बातें तो हाईएस्ट डिग्री तो होगा नहीं, जितना हो सके उतना है। या फिर वांगमयम तप है कि मैं लोगों से मीठा बोलूं, अनुद्वेग करम वाक्यम सत्यम प्रिय हितम चयत, पर वो 100 डिग्री कर नहीं पाऊंगा कि जैसे मैं तुम्हारे भले के लिए बोल रहा हूँ, है ना, मैं कितना अच्छा व्यक्ति हूँ। तो मैं चाहूंगा कि दो लोग देखे, मैं जब किसी को उपदेश कर रहा हूँ, है ना, कि दो लोग देखे मेरे कितना बड़ा महात्मा आदमी है ये, कितना विशाल हृदय का आदमी है, ये लोग है इसलिए तो संसार चल रहा है। स्वाध्याय अभ्यसनम चैव वांगमयम तप उच्यते। तो ये किसी भी किस्म का तप कर रहा हो, ये दंभ उसका बड़ा ये है कि लोग देखे, उसके लोग देखे नहीं हुआ तो बोले ये सब तप करके फायदा क्या है, किसी ने तो देखा ही नहीं, जाना ही नहीं मैंने कुछ किया करके, है ना। क्रियते तत् इह प्रोक्तम, यह मतलब इस जगह संसार में ऐसा जो व्यक्ति करता है, प्रोक्तम राजसम चलम ध्रुवम। तो दिस tapas, these austerities are called as rajasika austerities, and Bhagavan says there are two characteristics of it. One thing is it cannot become steady, chalam, cannot become sthiti, cannot come, because naturally how it can have any steadiness, because it is constantly seeking validation from others. Chalam or dhruvam, its fruits will be temporary. Adhruvam, chalam, adhruvam, uncertain and transitory. So this is the second kind of doing austerity. Then third he says, Mudha grahena atmano yat pidaya kriyate tapa. That this person, Mudha, who is totally with foolish intent, Mudha grahena atmano yat atmano pidaya, by inflicting pain upon oneself or परस्य उत्साधनार्थम means to give pain to someone or for the destruction of others, parasya, destruction of others, उत्साधनार्थम. And when these kinds of intents are there, that I will not eat because I am angry, I was not given proper respect, so पूरे मतलब फूफा जी बन के बैठे. तो ये वैसे खुद को तकलीफ देके, और दूसरा क्या है, फिर तुमको भी तकलीफ दूंगा मैं क्यों खाऊंगा नहीं ना, तुम कैसे खा पाओगे, तुमको तो अपनी शर्म है ना, तो दूसरों को तकलीफ देने के लिए खुद को भी तकलीफ दे रहे हैं, है ना. मुझे तकलीफ हो कोई बात नहीं, तुम्हारी परेशानी होनी चाहिए, तब मेरे कलेजे को ठंडा लगेगा. तो किसी किस्म का मतलब वो कोई भी तप करे, ये तामसिक, इससे आदमी का विध्वंस और इससे आदमी का नाश, और इससे आदमी और अधपतित होते जाता है. इसके बलि नहीं चढ़ना चाहिए, इसके बलि नहीं चढ़ना, इससे बचना चाहिए कि कहीं हम ये मूर्खता ना करें, ये सौदा कोई मतलब फायदे का, ये रास्ता ना काटे, चाहे तुमको कितना ही टेम्पटेशन क्यों ना, इससे कुछ बनेगा नहीं. अभी जैसे तो ये तप की बात कर रहे हैं, तो दान की भी बात है अभी। तो दान दातव्यम इति यद दानम दीयते अनुपकारिणे देश काले च पात्रे च तद दानम सात्विकम स्मृतम, कि देना चाहिए ये भाव से, दातव्यम इति, टू गिव, दिस इज द ड्यूटी, दिस इज द ऑब्लिगेशन, एंड यू आर गिविंग the person who will not be able to return any favor for that. Anupakarine, unupakarine, that he will not be able to return any favor or might have done earlier or ever in the future. You are giving something to some person just because you must give. You must give. Why you must give? Because he has come to you. He is needy. You can identify that. You have the ability. Therefore, you must give. And he says there is a, but what will decide that? Three things. Deshe, Kale, Patre. That you will have discernment of these three things. The context, the place, might be the situation is like that, might be the times, Kale, times is like that, and maybe the individual or the cause is like that, Patra. That these things, considering and judging on the basis of these three, it merits the case. Then you are in some other place, and the similar scenario probably will not fit the merit, so you can decide against it. If it is other times, it might not fit the merit, you might decide against it. If it would have been other kind of person or other kind of cause in the similar scenario, you might decide against it. So how you should behave? So you are properly judging the scenario, and if it fits the merit, then definitely you must do as is your sacred duty, not thinking of what return you will get, and this kind of dana would be considered as satvika dana. That in your full discretion, full awareness, you are doing this dana. This is called as satvika dana. And then the Rajasika Dana, again the same thing. This person has little bit of Sattvika tendency, but it is Tamasika dross, that impurity has not completely obliterated. It has not gone anywhere yet. So it's, that person is somewhere dragged by these two ideas. So Sattva generally is considered as a balance between Rajas and Tamas. Rajas is like hyperactivity, and tamas is like inertia, and sattvic is the perfect balance. So this person, in his overview, what he is doing, his dana, yat tu, yat means what, the dana, tu means but, tu means but, yat dana, like that, yat tu pratyupakaratam, prati upakaratam, upakaratam prati. So I should get a return favor. I should get a return favor. Prati upakaratam phalam uddishya, phalam athva uddishya va punah. But the gift which is given expecting reciprocation, or again with a desire for its result, and here diyate cha pariklishtam, that when you are giving, then also you are not altogether very happy and joyous. You are giving it grudgingly, grumblingly. ओह, इसका बर्थडे भी अभी आना था, इसका शादी भी अभी आना था, तो मुझे अभी देना पड़ेगा उसको गिफ्ट। अभी देखते हैं, है ना, 501 का लिफाफा तो डाला है, पूरा खा वसूल करेंगे हम खा पी के। प्रति उपकारार्थम. ठीक है. So, because that desire or that purification, that evolution has not come to this individual, Satvika person, he has tasted the growth and he is all the more therefore desirous to grow. This Rajasika person is yet to be sorted. He is trying to mimic the one, but yet doesn't have come to taste the result of, because उसकी जो austerities है, उसके जो प्रयत्न है, ये pure ही नहीं हो पा रहे. He has not tasted. He is trying to do it like that. Probably somebody will call it good. Somebody that this dhamma is there, that ostentatiousness is there, or probably he is thinking of that it will give some kind of results. But there that is. He is not able to extend his vision. He is not ready to let go and plunge into it, absorb into himself, herself. And therefore, now it is not really empowering that individual. It is not either liberating that individual. Diyate cha parikristam tad dhanam rajasam sputam. The other person, the tamasic person. अदेश काले यद दानम अपात्रेभ्यश्च दीयते असत्कृतम अवज्ञातम तत् तामसम उदाव. This is a terrible. He is doing dana. Imagine that. But neither understand desha, kala, what place, what situation, what times, and whether that individual is really deserving, and what they will do asatकृतम. That violating the dignity of the next person. है ना? कि लो मैं नहीं होता तो कौन देखता तुमको, ऐसे ही मर जाते कीड़े मकोड़े जैसे. Something like that. Denigrating the asatkuta, avajnata. That with lot of disdain and improper treatment. And these kinds of dana is called as a tamasic dana. Instead of getting him any fruit, the result will be always negative. Forget about the fruits of that dana he is talking about. It will only that the feeling, the hurt of the next individual bring him down. Don't do that. So if at all this choice has to be made between the Rajasic and Tamasic, rather choose Rajasic. Don't choose Tamasic. Rajasic may not bear exactly great result, but anyhow you will have some limelight and some show off. But this will bring you down. Don't do this kind of. Don't become haughty and don't get into that unnecessary pride. That will ruin you. Even if your good actions, it will spoil, ruin you. This is the tamasika dharma. Tat tamasam udavotam. Udavotam is dead. Now Bhagavan concludes here in the few verses. Om tatsaditi nirdesho brahmana trividas brahmanastena vedascha yajñascha vita pura. That by these three words, Om, Tat, Sat, these are the three words. Om is the one word, Sat is another word, Sat is the another word. By these three words, that Brahmana, that reality is pointed out. Nirdesha. So that Brahman, that consciousness, that is that the ideal, that the aim, that is the one thing which grants anything substantiality, purity, and worth That is consciousness. It is regarded, it is denoted by these three words: Om, Tat, and Sat. Sat means that. Sat means that. Om, Tat, Sat. So, Trivida Sprutaha, this is how it has been going on. Sprutaha, it is said, Brahmanas, that Vedic Karmakandas, Vedascha, Yajnascha. Brahmanas here must be Brahmin, the people, the Brahmanas and the Vedas. So, Vedas, Yajnascha, Viditaha, Puraha is Vidita means it was ordained in this way, Pura, from the long time, since long time, historically this has been like that. So, why he said that? Because he had asked the question, Yash Shastravati Musrujya Yajante Shraddhaya. This is the question Arjuna has asked. If somebody doesn't know the Shastra Vidhi and only Shraddha is there, and he worship God, then what would be his nishtha, sattvic, rajasic, tamasic? Meaning that whether he would be liberated, that is the question. Whether it would be binding or it would be degrading, or what sort it would be. So Krishna provides it a simple remedy that Om Tat Sat. It denotes that, it points out in that direction. So therefore Bhagavan says here, Tasmat Om iti udavritya. So he said, just say Om. Remember that. Everything is everywhere. Everything, nothing, what you have got, who is there in front of you, what you are giving, that only exists in only this limited context. Om, remember, this is the ultimate reality. Tasma Om iti udavritya yajna dana tapa kriya. So your sacrifices, yajna, dana, tapa, or kriya. Don't put too much weight behind this. This is the only truth. Om pravartante vidharuttaha satatam brahmavadi. So therefore the acts of sacrifice, charity, austerity as prescribed through injunctions of those who study and expound the Vedas always commence after uttering the syllable Om. So pravartante, the one who are teaching or expound vidhanoktaha. So brahmavadinam, who are studying Vedas, brahmavadinam, always commence, therefore they begin all their actions by uttering Om. So this is the simple solution. If you do not know too much of ritual, here is the solution. So Ishwara Avtaras has been very characteristically simplifying. So like in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, like this. In Arjuna, here Krishna, how much he can simplify for you? He said, yes, remember three words, Om Tat Sat, that's it. So Om means express. And therefore, then the next word, Tat iti anabhisandhaya alam yajna tapa kriya dana kriyascha vividha kriyante mokshakamshati. After uttering the word Tat, so Om word he describes the meaning, how it can be used. Now Tat word, after uttering the word Tat, acts of sacrifice and austerity, and also the various acts of charity are performed without regard for results by persons aspiring for liberation. This also can become sadhana. So Tat, we do not use in the beginning like Om. So whenever in your mantras, etc., this Tat is referred to that reality again. again to remind you. So this is what it is. All our good actions, might be your wrong actions, might be you are doing any penances for them. Everything. But everything exists in this transitory ephemeral world. And this and such that reality is alone is truth. And when you realize that, then your this pettiness about your hankering and attachment and so much longing of this world, it can reduce. It can go away. It can evaporate. And your mind will be then free. And therefore again then this person, you will be seeking liberation. If you want to liberate, you will have to let it go. You cannot clutch on. And this again, all your actions, they can become sattvic. They can become liberate. Sadbhave, now the sat word. Sat word, the use, he said that everywhere it is used. Sadbhave cha, sadbhave, sadhubhave cha, sat iti etat prayujyate. Sadbhave, sadhubhave, with this meaning, by good. Sat word, this is used in the good sense, sadhu bhava, prashaste, to praise something, karmani, tatha sat shabda partha yujyate. The word sat is used with regard to something coming into being and with regard to someone becoming good. So also, O son of Prutha, the word sat is used with regard to an auspicious right. Prashaste karmani tatha sat shabda partha yujyate. So like Sat Shabda also, this Sat Shabda is not used towards at the beginning of something like Om is used. But whatever is when Sat, this word is used. Sat means the existence. In the Sat Chit Ananda, this word comes. This word Sat Chit Ananda again implies the Atman only. And by Sat means which is never going to become abhava or asat. So Sat means always that pure existence. Whenever therefore this Sat word is used. So it is again to remind ourselves of, we use Sat, this word, in many contexts to show something which is good, which is pure. Sat Janaha, they are the good people. San Marga, that is also Sat Marga, the good Marga. So meaning it will, Sat Marga means again Marga of Sat. Sat is the purely, Sat is that consciousness alone. Sajjana is that person who is devoted to, who is dedicated to, who is of that path, Sajjana. Who is living that. So, in this way, now yajne tapasi dane cha sthiti sat iti. So, when there is a steadfastness in yajna, tapa, dana, then it is called as sat. This is a good thing. It will be liberating. Karma in also in your action. Karma chaiva tad arthyam, whatsoever you would be doing with regard to this. Everything is considered as sat iti eva abhidhyate. This everything is considered as sat, meaning that it would be sattvika, it would be liberating, it would be freeing you. And ultimately concludes his all discourse in response to the question raised by Arjuna, ashraddhaya krutam dattam tapas taptam krutam cha yat. So whatsoever it may be, it might be sacrifice, it might be charity, It might be austerity or it might be any action whatsoever. Asat iti uchyate partha. So if it is done ashraddhaya, if there is no shraddha, so definitely it would be called as asat, and it would not be what is nacha tat pretya no here. So that thing will not stand after this life and not also in this life. So Shraddha is must. You cannot escape that. This is Arjuna's question. If Shraddha alone is there, whether it would be liberating. Bhagavan says, Om Tat Sat. You remember that. So in this way, you can, if not knowing this also, you can liberate yourself. They can become sattvic. They can become sat. And if you do not have Shraddha, then there is absolutely no doubt that it would be termed. So it would not be liberating. So Shraddha cannot be compromised at all. There is no question. Shraddha is ever very much necessary, but meaning that it implies that you must not give away the Shastra. So at least if you do not know Shastra, do not know the way, the proper way, the methodology, at least remind yourself, because everything comes from that one reality, Om Tat Sat, which is denoted as Om Tat Sat. Stick on to it if you do not know much. And then slowly, probably then when you know as you know, then you can figure it out. But you cannot just by your Shraddha, just by your emotions, you cannot sacrifice or give up the Shastra. You cannot do that. Don't do that. Shraddha is essential. If you lack Shraddha and if you have everything, then also it becomes. So this is Krishna's conclusion, and here ends chapter 17. So we will begin chapter 18 from the next class. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.